What is up, guys? Welcome to a short video for the day. I just wanted to knock this video out because we had quite a bit of shakeup in the car fleet and the family today. So if you guys can't already see, the Grand Caravan's out here. You guys have probably seen this car so many times over the years on the YouTube channel because it is my mom's now former daily. She's currently on the way home with her new car that we picked up this morning. I didn't want to film the dealership experience because I didn't want to get in the way of everything and be too intrusive on the salesperson. We had an amazing salesperson. Shout out to Leslie over at Steve Raymond Chevrolet for being super cool to have us in. It was an awesome time hanging out with him and getting to talk with him. And of course, he let me screw around with the Zeal 11LE they had in the showroom, which is awesome because I wasn't even expecting that car to be unlocked, let alone him be like, yeah, pop the hood, sit inside of it, do whatever you want with it, except for obviously crash it or anything like that, obviously. But we got taken care of really well over there. My mom had her eyes on a couple cars. She had a Nissan Rogue she was looking at, and if a thumbnail doesn't already show, she picked up a 2017 Equinox all-wheel drive. And that'll be here momentarily. She's not too far down the road, but that's why the Grand Caravan's outside. And Lola here has just been freaking out since I got here. She doesn't like being on video, I've noticed. What's up, Lola? Say hi. That's how you get a look from her. But the Equinox should be here momentarily. I'll talk you guys through the car a little bit. It is really nice, actually. And a lot of you guys may know about me and my Ford fandom. There wasn't really any Ford she liked at the lot. They had a Fusion. She's looking for SUVs. That's what she came there for. She had her eyes on the Equinox, the Traverse, the Rogue, the Murano, stuff like that. She drove the Rogue. She really liked the Rogue, but the problem with the Rogue was it was a little bit too small. She wanted something that was a little bit bigger than a Rogue, and so they were like, all right, here's an Equinox. So we rode around in the Equinox. She loved it, and she's coming up with one. The irony of the fact is, last night we were talking about this before we came up this morning. She said that I probably won't buy another Chevy because her first car was a 1988 Chevy Corsica, and it was infamous for the recall in the paint that it had and for braking repeatedly. So she kind of just had a bad taste in her mouth from Chevy, and she decided to go ahead and give him another shot, and she picked up quite a nice car. I actually really liked how the Equinox rode. It rode fantastically, especially compared to the van. The van rides awful. And for those who don't know the story in our Grand Caravan, had a computer failure. We had to bypass. There's not a lot of stuff known about it. I wish I could do a video talking about it, but I don't even know what they did, what my dad did with it. Because the car wouldn't start for a little while. I mean, it wasn't battery or alternator related. We found out the PCM had fried, and my mom had to make a little workaround to make the PCM work. So that's how we got that running. The trunk broke 2 weeks after we got it, the electronic release, and then the actual trunk broke on the highway one day. She was on her way to a job, and it broke off track. So now she can't even open the trunk. It would leak water in, so we had to put tarp there to cover up the window. And then there was a accident involving an animal last year with it. You guys can only really see by the lower air dam down there. That's how you can look at it. But the van has 153,000 miles, and with all the problems it's been having, my mom has been a lot more open to driving something else, and that's where the Equinox comes into play. We've had the van since 2013, and it's been reliable for the most part while it's been here. It's definitely not been a saint by any means. The only car I can really say has been a saint is the Kia, for crying out loud. The Kia and the Mustang both have barely ever given us issues. The Kia much less so than the Mustang, but that's why the Grand Caravan's sitting out here. The Equinox should be here momentarily. I'll show you guys the car, and my mom loves it so far. So from what I know, she's on her way. She had to stop and put gas in it, but we'll see you in a few minutes. I'll show you guys the car, and we'll talk more about it. Alright, so quick thing before we go look at the Equinox, but since I shouted them out earlier in the video, I want to go ahead and show you guys his business card. So this is Leslie's business card over at Steve Raymond. So if you guys want to talk to him and get hooked up with a new Chevy or whatever you want to look at, he can get you hooked up. Really cool guy, like I said, probably my favorite sales guy. Sorry, I'm following the dog. I have really bad balance, in case you didn't know. And that was a nightmare. We're standing next to a C7 Z06 and two ZL1s. He'll get you hooked up really good. Like I said, he's probably my favorite sales guy I've ever had the privilege of talking to. I mean, Carlos over at Elite was cool a couple years ago when we got the Taurus, but this guy was just lax. He was fun to talk to and really awesome to deal with. He made sure you were completely informed about whatever you were looking at buying. He literally went through every single aspect of that Equinox with us before we took it home. Pretty much, just a brief synopsis. It's a 2.4 liter all-wheel drive, 6-speed automatic car. It's got 16,000 miles. 16,000 miles. And I'm not going to talk about the price because it's my parents' private information. I'm not going into how much they paid for the car. But it's really nice. It's black. It has the cloth interior. She wanted the sunroof, but unfortunately, the cars that she was looking at, none of which had sunroofs. The Equinox didn't have a sunroof, and now that they did the Rogue she drove, this car has the touchscreen, and my favorite part, the switchblade key. So, like I said, that's just a brief synopsis of what the car is. When it comes in here, I'll show you guys a little bit more in depth of what it is. What it looks like and all that. It's a really nice car. If you follow me on Instagram, you guys have already seen this. It's because I posted it on my story, my adventures with the Camaro ZL1 when Ali, and of course I took a picture of me in the van because we took both cars. We took the van up, and I drove the van back here. So yeah, the Equinox should be here momentarily though, and I'll show you guys it. It's really nice. All right, so I'm in the garage now. It's been majority of the day since I filmed the last clip. I'm about to show you guys the Equinox that's now in the garage and give you guys a walk around my mom's new car. I know this wasn't a very enthusiast car driven video, but I thought it was worth filming, so this is it. So as I said, it's a 2017 Equinox. It's an LS all-wheel drive with the 2.4 up front, and all in all, it's a really good car. I've so far really enjoyed it. The van, if it were parked right here, the back would almost be out in the driveway. But this car fits perfectly in here. It's a lot smaller than the minivan is. So I guess we'll hop inside. This one is got probably one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, which is Chevrolet's switchblade key, which I will demonstrate in a moment. This is my first time sitting in the driver's seat of the thing. See how I like the seating position in here. So my dad sat in here last, so I obviously don't have a lot of leg room. But yeah, so the key's probably one of my favorite parts about this car, because I can do that. And then the ignition cylinder is in a really interesting spot, something I've never seen before. So of course, turn the radio down. Yeah, car's got 17,000 miles. I'm gonna close this door. It's gonna drive me nuts. So, like I was saying, it's got, I believe this is Equinox Dodge. I forget what GM unit it's called. MyLink, I think. Yeah, I think it's MyLink. It's got Bluetooth audio. It's got all that stuff. It's got the little display right here, which is controlled through this little pod right here. I don't know a lot about this car because I usually stick to when it comes to Chevy, it's like either Camaro or Corvette. I don't really know what's in between. So like I said, it's a 6-speed auto car. Apparently it's got settings for a backup camera. I don't know if it actually has one, so we're about to find out. Sorry, Mom. Nope, no backup camera, which is interesting because it has the setup for it. But it's got manual shift from the top of the shifter, which is different from, say, the Mustang, which has the 6R80, and it's on the side of the shifter. I actually kind of prefer this over the side of the shifter, because you can hold it like this, versus like that. I don't know, I've always been a bigger fan of this. It's got full USB, all that stuff. My mom's already got her cable hooked up in here for USB audio. It's got eco mode, traction control off, of course, right here, which is probably my favorite button in the world. Oh, yes. Which I'm not gonna use. There's the eco mode. So pretty cool stuff all in all. I really like this car a lot. It's definitely out of our zone because we're a Ford family pretty much. We only really run with Fords. So I'm actually going to turn the lights on. So the interior dome lights are actually pretty good in here. They're incandescent. I think really if we do anything in this car, I really want to put LEDs in here for her. Because LEDs are just way better than incandescents. That's just the facts. Let's see. So it's got a mechanical turn signal stock, like unlike the Taurus. The Taurus is the only car I've ever seen that's like the little one. It's like fully electronic, but I like it. It's got all the nice gizmos with the cruise control and the Bluetooth, like I was saying. Ambient lighting. There's some in the cup holder and there's some over here, which is pretty cool. I really like the dash setup. When I was riding it in the test drive up here, I was like, okay. So it is cloth seats. My mom wanted leather, but this does perfectly fine. It's not so sticky because leather is a lot stickier than this, and it just All in all, though, it's a pretty cool little car. I'm happy for my mom. She got a pretty sweet deal. It was either this or a Nissan Rogue, and this is, I feel like, better than the Rogue in a sense, because it doesn't have the CVT. It's got a traditional old automatic. The one we looked at actually had the traditional automatic, because they did make a version of the Rogue that had the traditional automatic. And this one that we looked at had the traditional, wasn't the CVT. And I told them pretty much to avoid the CVT ones because of their infamous failure rate and expensive repair cost. I did like the Rogue's interior a little bit, about as much as this. This was a lot more roomy, obviously. But I like the steering wheel and the Rogue a little bit more. It's a lot more sporty. The Chevy wheel is bigger, but the bolstering is not as aggressive. But for someone like me, who's a sports car kind of guy, I mean, that's why I'm pointing that out. But for my mom, who just drives this to work every day, or is going to be driving this to work every day, don't know why that would matter. AC works fantastically from what I rode in it briefly at the test drive. But yeah, so that's the front at least. We're gonna hop in the back and check that out. So I'm just gonna open the door here. I really love the door chime Chevy. It's just a lot more calming than Ford's little deal they got going on. Okay, so we'll just take that out. I always like how that feels when you take the key out. It's a really nice little feeling the ignition center has. At least the key doesn't fall out on this one. Chevy jokes. Anyway, we're gonna go hop in the back of the car and I'll show you guys the leg room. So my mom is about 5'10". So, well, this is what my dad's sitting position. My dad's 5'6". But my dad's seating position, I've got like tons of leg room. Like here's the back of the seat. Here's my knee. Like so much leg room in here. It's awesome. And full length center console. We got a power outlet back here. Cup holders in the door, which I like a lot more than the like stuff right here for the cup holders. I prefer to have them in the doors. It's a lot better. But yeah, it's really comfy back here. The seats are firm, which is one thing to note. The back seats are incredibly firm, but I don't have a problem with that. I actually really like it. So, like I was saying, the motor setup, it's a 2.4 LEA 4-cylinder motor. It makes 182 horsepower. This car weighs about 3,926 pounds curb weight, which is what I go off of. GVWR doesn't mean anything to me because I've had my truck on a scale. The GVWR is over 5,000 pounds, but on my truck on a scale is about 44 with stuff in it. So I go based off of curb weight because that's what's actually seems to be represented more by the scale. Yeah, so this car it's not terribly heavy. It is still somewhat lighter than my truck. My truck's a two-wheel drive truck and it weighs 43, I think, or 42 without stuff in it. And like I said, this is 39. Obviously, the Mustang wins in terms of weight, but this is like the perfect middle ground. And like I was saying, it's roomy. Like I said, I've got a lot of leg room on this car. I could really ride back here for a trip. We're actually planning on taking this to Florida this year, so be a really good road trip car for sure. And I won't have a single complaint really riding back here. Granted, there's no third row, which is one thing we're gonna be missing from the van. But we're gonna make it work because there's 5 of us, just me, my brother, and my sister. And only problem is my brother. My brother is like 6'3", I think, so we'll have a hard time fitting him back here. But yeah, so that's the Equinox. If you guys want to see videos of this, we do plan on getting the windows tinted relatively soon. So in a sense, this car will be modded, but not to the same extent as say the Mustang is going to be, the Kia is, or my truck. So I'll do videos on it periodically when we take it to get tinted and all that. But don't be expecting like any sort of crazy like built LEA motors or anything in this thing. This car is pretty much going to be a full-on daily, and I'd love to see my mom get a sporty car as a fun car one day, but I doubt it because my mom's not really focused on that. If anything, my dad's probably going to wind up with his own project car in the future. But as far as my mom goes, pretty good car. I really like the red stitching. It adds like kind of a bit of a sporty aspect to it. I mean, obviously, it's not Camaro level, like, sportiness or anything. It is a lot sportier than the van, to be honest. And my mom said you do take a noticeable dip in power because the Pentastar makes, like, 160 to 180, somewhere in that zone. Or not 160, 180, 260 to 280, and somewhere in that zone. This makes 160 or 180. The Rogue makes 170, which is, I don't know why I keep mentioning 160. But this makes 182. The Grand Caravan makes 263, somewhere in that ballpark. At least the 2011 Pentastars did. So I now have the second highest horsepower car in the house, and this is, my mom went from having the second highest to the third slowest. So that's kind of interesting. Nothing's gonna beat that Mustang for a while until I can like put some money down. But anyway, this is the Equinox, my mom's daily, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm apologizing right now for just how I'm acting. I've got really bad, my head's splitting. I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I wanted to finish the video off before I went and crashed for the night because I am exhausted. And I'll be doing another video on the C8 soon. I planned on doing one for this video, but this came up, so I wasn't going to miss on the opportunity. And I apologize for not bringing in the dealership experience because I know a lot of you guys wanted to see that. But I didn't want to step on the toes of the dealership. Steve Raymond has always been really good. That's where we bought the Grand Caravan from. They took good care of us then, and I wanted to kind of keep that relationship good when it came to this. We looked at a couple of the dealerships, and one of which just outright refused to answer emails, and so we were just like, you know what, we're just going to go back to Steve Raymond, see what happens, and sure enough, we came home with the Equinox. So I'm pretty happy for my mom. She made a really good choice. I mean, between the Rogue and the Equinox, the Rogue has its pluses, but it was just a little too small for my mom wanted. She wanted something that was not tiny, but not giant, like Tahoe level. And the Rogue was on the tiny extreme. She wanted something right in the middle, and the Equinox fit just that category, what she was looking for. So nothing against the Rogue or anything, and pretty much the Equinox won because, well, one, the dealership didn't have anything else but Rogues and Equinoxes. They had an edge, but it was a little on the older side and a little bit too outdated for what my mom was looking for. She was looking for something newer than what she had. Like the Dodge Journey, and this is my personal opinion, I don't like the Journey. They haven't updated it since it was released, so I try to avoid the Journey with just the plague. And like I was saying, stuff like the Durango, the Tahoe, the Expedition, all that stuff is completely out of the running due to their size. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, we're gonna do one mod to this car, and I will keep you guys updated when we're doing a video on that. We'll probably be taking it to the same guys in Douglasville who did my dad's Mustang. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys later.
Yeah.